Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I am speaking with Melissa Pace for her lovely book, The Once and Future Me. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of
I'm
course.
thrilled to talk about it.
I'm so excited to get to talk about it. There's so much to unpack, so many questions I have. I'm so excited. But before we jump into the questions, would you mind telling everyone what your book is about?
Yes, I would be happy to. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers. It's a psychological thriller about a woman who wakes on a patient transport bus arriving at a mental hospital in 1954. She has no memory, no recollection of who she is or any of her life before that moment that she wakes on the bus. She soon gets subdued because she's has some violent tendencies. She is told that she is actually a delusional schizophrenic, subject to violent episodes, which she completely doesn't believe. But then she starts having these what seem to be delusional episodes, visions of this future where they're telling her she's the only one who can save mankind, and she has a mission in 1954, and she has to complete it. So then she starts to wonder, and we follow her. We're in her head. It's first person present. So you are learning as she is learning and trying to solve this mystery of what the truth is, whether she really is mentally ill or is she actually something more than what they think she is.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a good premise. For a lot of the book, it's just like you genuinely don't know if she is just like crazy or if maybe she is this saving mankind hero from the future. And it's so fun because you don't know for so long and it's so fun. I love it. Um
Oh, thank you. That
what
feels great to hear because it was hard to engineer it.
I mean, it's such an out of the box idea and it's so amazing. But I was gonna ask, like, what sparked the idea? What, like, was it the like 1950s psychiatric hospital like setting, or was it the time travel? Because there's so many different layers in this book to play with.
I think that I knew I wanted to explore a person who is possibly has a very important job being made to play small and and possibly um actually not have an important job. I wanted that kind of which one. I love that. And so from there I came upon this idea of it being in the 50s because it just was such a um I mean, it's not that long ago, but it is the things that were allowed to happen in the name of patients' best interest by other people. It's just enormous. It's really a nightmare. Although, if you were to go back in time as a woman, every time is fraught with challenges. But the 50s really drew me in because it was not that far away from our time and it was the heyday of lobotomies and extreme um, electroshock treatments, and the kind of Cold War scare, communist scare. So it was all great stuff to
Yeah.
work with, and I really did not. I experimented with having our time be it at first, and it just I wanted a vacation from our time when
Yeah.
I was writing this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of draw interesting parallels with this future. So that's how it ended up at that time. And from there it kind of spooled out what is it that she thinks or people are telling her what are the stories people are telling her and what
Yeah.
is the truth?
I mean,
Yeah.
I love that it was set in the 50s, that you ultimately like went with that. because I think obviously it's still such a present thing today, but especially back then, in terms of so many things, but also just like women's health and everything, women were made to feel so crazy. And that really
Mhm.
plays into this because she thinks that she's this time traveler. And so you don't really know because she's being told that she's insane and that all of these things are happening. But reading about her experience in the mental hospital was so insane because it obviously that stuff happened, but reading it from a first person point of view is so insane to like experience almost. It's crazy.
Yeah, it there's something that's feels like it's rooted inside us to understand how that would feel because on a much lesser level, I think we all go through these moments where you are against the crowd.
Yeah,
And sometimes the crowd is all men. Um, but it, being a difficult woman, I think is very relatable to everybody.
I
It's a
agree. I agree. I think it's a really important book to be told right now, and I loved it.
thank you.
Of
Yeah,
course.
the world around it is because it took a long time to gestate. It was originally a TV pilot when I first wrote it
Oh,
um, back a long time ago in the 50s.
that that's
So
so cool. I love that.
it's just the world is kind of caught up to the level of paranoia or anger. So it's sadly resonates more, I think, than it did when I first came up with it.
It's
Sad. Very
crazy that like these topics are still relevant. It's insane.
yes.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. It's still a thing.
the book moves between like 1954 and 2035, and it kind of does like blur the lines between her sanity and time travel. How did you balance those two realities so readers could feel both possibilities? Because that is such a prominent thing where you don't know and you're constantly guessing which one it is.
Yeah. There I think it took a lot of trial and error. I think originally there was a lot more earlier on, um, kind of making the future more fully apparent to her
Mm-hmm.
and less, there wasn't as much kind of feeling like it's possibly a dream. It was more clear cut, and that just didn't work. It was like you needed a certain amount, but not too much, a
Yeah,
ridiculously small amount. Otherwise, um, it becomes too. You're either like, why isn't she figuring this out? Why is she being such a dummy? It so it's a very trial and error thing. It was like cooking until it seemed about right. And I'm still like in my head when I look at it, I'm like, did I get it right? Constantly.
I
You
think
know.
you did. I think because it's the perfect level of like because her like episodes that she has are so because it's from these like made up memories of hers. And
Mhm.
so because it's her memories, it's such a small, like you're seeing it through such a small window. And so making that like future world so small and like limited to just like these people that she's interacting with
Yeah.
was really smart because you just it makes you confused too, where you're like, wait, but there's so little information here. Like she is making it up.
Yeah. And
It worked very well.
and it's not they're never in a normal place.
Yeah,
It's always some situation and it's very brief. And she has definitely been damaged, so there is a certain amount of uh, lack of reality in it. And also in her, it's open to interpretation how damaged she is and
yeah.
how much will come back. ever.
Yeah, I mean, because the how you said it's up to like her interpretation, because the doctors at the mental hospital are like, well, everything you're saying is insane. Like,
Hmm.
you are not here. But then, obviously, as we were saying earlier, they were just making her feel crazy. And so, like, it's entirely correct. It does entirely depend on how she perceives it.
Yeah. And she does have a murderous voice in her head, which, I mean, don't we
But
all?
this is kind of fun, though.
I
Like,
just assume everyone has one like I do.
yeah, it's just like
Um,
everyone's intrusive thoughts, but it is actually a voice.
yeah. And since she doesn't have any context for it because it's all been wiped clean, all she has is whatever is happening to her in the moment. So every time I wanted, originally in the pilot, there was no voice in her head,
Mm,
but I needed it for the novel because she's alone a lot of the time. And well, that's why I originally did it, but it actually having that voice became so helpful in keeping, is she crazy? Is she not going?
yeah.
And it also like when she's the voice sometimes becomes the voice of the reader or what the reader might be wondering, and so it allowed me to address, whatever elephant in the room was currently going on. uh and that was it was super cool, which I didn't realize until many drafts in.
I mean,
Like my
I know the voice is like a crazy murderous voice, but she's kind of fun. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of loved her. Anytime she wasn't there, I was like, wait, no, where's this like spunky voice that's like, hey, do your thing? Like, I kind of loved her.
Were you happy when she reappeared?
I was very happy. I was
I
very happy. She wasn't
was
in it,
happy.
and I missed her. I missed her very much. Then
I'm
she
like,
came
oh,
back, and I was
thank
like,
God
yes,
she's back.
yes, my intrusive thoughts are back. Love her. So, as I said earlier, there's a lot of layers to this book. And as we have talked about, the main character wakes up in 1954 and doesn't remember anything, and but she also experiences visions of the future. So there's a lot of different genres in this. And how did you decide to merge those two like time periods and genres? Because it's historical fiction, but then it's also a like sci-fi thriller.
Yeah. It's been a sometimes an awkward marriage.
Yeah. It works
It's
really
hard.
well, but I can imagine that there was definitely confusing moments.
Yeah. And all along, I'm like, how, if I ever do sell this book, how are they going to market it? Like, which one's going to win of those
Any
genres?
genre. It's a many genre movie.
Yeah. I've been in bookstores and it has been in three whole different locations, depending
Oh
on how
wow.
the person interprets what it is. So, yeah, the battle is still going.
Like
But
I'm trying to think if I were to have to like pick between like a sci-fi, a thriller, or like a historical fiction, and I feel like I would put it with sci-fi.
yeah, well, ultimately, that's what my imprint, my
Yeah.
publisher, decided, because it's also it's a little upmarket from your maybe your average sci-fi. So that was another whole discussion of how to do it. And we're like, well, can we hide the sci-fi? No.
Can we
Because
just
it's
suck it
like
back
you
a
don't
little
want
bit?
to give away,
Yeah.
the conceit, but uh eventually they're like, there's no way.
Yeah.
So that went, but it is each it's funny, each and I didn't know this when I was starting out because I knew nothing. This is my first book, so I was basically learning
Insane
on the
first book,
job.
by the way. Like so good. Such an amazing debut.
Thank you. Well, it took a long time because I had to kind of teach myself how to write a novel. And during it, I thought, oh well, it, I started it so long ago. I thought, oh, we'll do a series,
Mhm.
and and so the intention was that this would be one of two books, but I didn't know anything about the publishing landscape or how it all worked or
Yeah.
would work by the time I finished. And they're like, no, 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 it has to be standalone.
Yeah.
So that, and also thrillers, like a psychological thriller has different set of promises kind of or norms in it than a regular or a speculative thriller. And so it requires slightly different things, and that took a while to figure out, which side, like the heart of it, was going to be planted in, even though
Yeah.
the speculative, it really, the structure and what it promises is based in psychological thriller, where the question is she crazy or is she not? And then, at some point that question gets answered, but there's still a whole part of the book. And I remember at some point, one of my beta readers said, I don't want to use the word Frankenstein in this book. It's like two things mashed together. So I
Yeah.
took it very seriously. How do I unfrankenstein this book? And at some point, you just have to love your little monster,
Exactly.
not your
Exactly. At the end
average
of the
book.
day, that little monster is your little monster.
Yes,
The end of the day.
my fourth child.
I mean, literally, like, it's like because I'm so like protective over my characters, and like my book is like your kid.
Yeah,
Like you came up with the idea and you spent so long with it, just you and the idea. And it is like you get so protective over these characters and everything. Even though I I hate to say it, but like even though they're not like real people, they feel like real
oh, they
people.
are.
No, they are. My characters are real and they exist in the world. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But
It-
like, because like it feels like that. And
yeah,
so
does.
you get so protective over these people. It is like your creation. It is like your kid.
Yeah, and you're not necessarily rational
No.
about people's input or sometimes very helpful input.
Editing process was fun because I was like, no, this is my kid. You can't change my kid.
Yeah, what are you saying?
Perfect the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
The
luckily,
editors, they know best.
they do.
They
They
do.
do. I mean, my editor she was very, she really let me try a lot of things. She's like, go ahead, try it, try it, try it. Because I had ideas of after it was acquired that kind of changed a little bit of
I
what it
mean,
was.
I feel like with a book like this, the best thing you can do is just play with it and
Mhm.
just see what works. Because whenever you have so many different like layers and genres, and you can't really like you can talk about it, but you can't really see like how it all folds out unless you actually try it. And
Yes.
you just gotta go for it.
Yeah, it's true. And that's where being able to write quickly comes in handy.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I started my second book and I'm like, please be quicker this time. We'll see. Jury's still
Hey,
out
I
on that
mean,
one.
one of my questions is what were you working on next?
It's another thriller
Of
with a speculative, like grounded speculative. So it's got one super weird thing that happens to this woman,
okay.
and she has to figure it out before she dies. So that's
I am
that's
intrigued. I will be reading. I'm ready for this book. That sounds so cool.
it's I guess it's my brand.
I
It's-
love it. I mean, it's like the perfect time of the year too for a good thriller. Like cozy
yeah,
Halloween spooky vibes. Like,
yeah, and it takes place in the fall to winter. It's kind of a wintry, cold weather thing.
I love that.
When I first found out it
I'm
was
a big
coming
fall.
out in August, I'm like, August?
I'm such a big fall winter person. So like whenever I get a book that's like matches the vibe of the season, I'm like, yes.
Yes.
I get a nice cup of like hot tea, toast
Hmm.
it up. It's so nice.
Yeah, even in California. where
Even in California, where I'll get out my door and it's sunny outside. But in
I know.
here, we have we've had like a few cloudy days, and I'm like, it's time to read.
Yeah, get
Six
out the
candle, it's time to
blankets.
read.
I know. I should have, I should be living in Oregon or something because I just love a good cloudy, rainy day
No,
for,
like give me a good like Washington weather.
yes, for
I
writing too. Especially if it
exactly.
gets icky out. Oh my God, my brain just starts exploding
Yep. Yep. I
energy.
think this is like that's such a universal thing with authors where like they have every writing process ever for every person. Everyone has a different way to go about it. But every author I know, if it is cloudy out, they're like, I have to write. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, we should just have some sort of set that fakes cold
I,
weather. That
I'm
would
okay
be.
with that. I do that. I would be much more productive. We were kind of talking about this earlier, but I wanted to talk about it more. Um, the novel kind of critiques how women's emotions were very undermined in the 1950s and just years ago, even now. But did writing this story change how you think about mental health narratives today?
It does change. Well, I feel like, and feeling, I guess, is the key word there. That the the assumptions that are made are still being made today. Even we've come a long way, um, but I don't think that. I think there is this certain uh, innate thing in human beings that they want to classify people and put them in their, in a box that they're comfortable with. And I think that that is something you got to fight still. And
Yeah,
particularly, I think for women, what our identity is, I think is more fluid throughout life. There are so many stages, and you're asked to be and play so many roles that, who are you really? I'm
yeah,
a different, I feel like, and this is part of why this idea of book really hit strongly with me. That, I mean, I'm old enough to have been through so many stages of life, and it doesn't, I look back at pictures of, when I was a young mother or when I was a teenager, and it's like, who is that person? Like, it feels almost like it's a completely different person than me.
yeah.
And, there's just these stages, and you just keep cycling through them. And maybe that's more it felt by me than the average woman, but I think
I understand
for
that
men, it's
very much.
more constant, you know.
Yeah,
Um, you until you hit maybe like 50 and then there's a big trauma for men, but up until then
yeah,
it's much more cohesive what
yeah,
your identity is. And so I think that playing with that aspect of we are not just one person, we are multiple people even in a sane
yeah.
show
No, I
is
mean, I was asked recently by someone like what if I was to name the chapter of my life that I'm about to be in, what would it be called?
wow,
I know,
interesting.
right? And I was thinking about it because I was like, I don't really think I have a name for it because I was like, I don't really think I'm entering a chapter. I said I feel like I'm in an act break. Like
Oh.
I'm very like in between right now. And I don't think I'm like because like I'm about to turn 18. Like I just had a book come out. Like there's a lot of like transitions
Mhm.
happening. And so I feel like it is like this in between.
You're in the liminal space in
I'm in the
between.
liminal space. I'm in the I'm still in here though. But that's such a like a great thing is whenever you're in that space, like that liminal space,
Mhm.
like instead of trying to get out of that and move your life forward, like hang out there for a bit. It's nice.
That's where
And
all the
then,
weird happens.
exactly. And then whenever you're out of that space, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna be like, I kind of miss whenever I was there. So appreciate it.
I think just as a writer, it you need that. You need to be a kind of detached. But being a writer these days, you're required to be two absolutely different things, and
Yeah.
they're constantly warring in my head and take like fighting for uh space, you know, because it's like no one can be the one. Yeah, they're it's like there's a limited amount of time and energy and all that. I
Yeah.
gotta learn how to do Canva or whatever the thing is. The things I
Yeah.
have to, as an old person, learn how to do in order to get a book published that are complete
Yeah.
would seem unrelated, but you
You don't
know,
even have, it's not even just like writing the book anymore. It's like there's so many other things, like not like promoting your book, all the things. There's so much now that goes on top of it. It's so insane because there's so many stories and so many authors out there.
yeah,
So there's so much you have to do for it.
yeah. And I have a very small following, so it's like, well, does this, will it move the needle? Is it, really worth all the Canva time? But it is kind of fun.
Yeah,
I enjoy
it is
big,
kind of fun.
yeah, picking out music.
Yep,
It's it's cool.
I agree. I like it. It's fun. I was thinking about this because reading wise, I have my favorite. But which timeline did you like writing the most?
I liked writing the 50s the most.
Okay, same. Not writing it, obviously, but reading it. I enjoyed reading it the most. It was a
It
lot
just
of
had
fun.
my heart. And the future grew on me. At first, I was fighting it because it's hard, I think, to have a different take on it or a different, like where you're adding something to it. And at first, it felt very like, but
Yeah.
then as I got further in and knew, because a lot of it I did not know. I decided to start writing the book because the pilot was a much narrower thing. It didn't have all the answers, or it was like a sliver. She never even leaves the hospital in the pilot.
Oh, wow.
Um, trying to expand it, um, I was like, okay, so I have to come up with the explanation. Because all along, when it was a pilot, they're like, don't worry, that's what the writer's room is for. They'll figure out all these answers. But I didn't have them. And I thought, I'll never start this if I wait to have all the answers. So I just started writing and filled in as it went. And that was a really interesting process because it's like your subconscious is noodling over things at the same time. And then like answers would come. But so that happened a lot for the future. Um,
Yeah. I think I liked reading the 50s one a lot because I'm more like disconnected from that one. So it's like, because like it's crazy, but like 2035 isn't that far away.
no,
Kind of crazy. Um,
we're
so
closer to that.
we're closer to that one, which is
Yeah.
crazy. But we like me personally, like since we're closer to that one, that's more age accurate
Mhm.
than the 50s. And so being able to read that was really interesting to me. Fun at times, other times it wasn't. I was getting mad at people for being bigots and annoying and
Mhm.
mean. But like being able to experience that and as something I'd never experienced before was very interesting to read.
So it felt immersive, the 50s.
Yes. It felt very immersive. Like anytime I was reading it, I was immediately in the book and I
Oh,
was in the scene. And I think how like, it being in first person really helped because you were like feeling crazy with her. So
yeah.
it really helped. It was great.
I mean, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, but the 50s and people's behavior, expectations, and lingo all were still circulating through the 70s. And so a lot of it was kind of absorbed by me. So it made it easier to kind of construct that because there were kind of ghosts of the 50s still around when I was growing
Yeah,
up, you know. So it did make it easier. Yeah.
it was written very well. I felt like you know how whenever you're watching like an older show from that era and it has that like it's just like there's like a graininess of film over it that makes it look more like a vintagey show and not like literally like on the cover how it's like that film literally like that reading it I felt like that was there and that was really cool to me like I was seeing it as that like graininess it was really I'd never had that experience reading before and it was very
Oh,
cool
so
and fun.
fantastic to hear. That's so interesting. I haven't heard
Yeah,
that yet. Uh, yeah, it's kind of like being inside that television set in the day room.
that's exactly what it felt like. I felt like I was on television entirely. It
And
was
maybe
great.
we all are. Oh, that's my current book.
Throughout the book, especially in the 50s, really there's so many times where you drop little Easter eggs where like at one point she says DNA and they're like,
Right.
what 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 are you talking about? And it just makes her seem insane and is used against her. It's so I love that you did that. Like there's one part where she said she needs closure. And someone was like, "What is that?" Like I love those little like details and Easter eggs so much.
I tried to put in the magazines that she picks up when she first is in the day room, there's one that has DNA. So I wanted everything to have an attributable,
Hmm.
thing within her, the world that we see or what we learn, so that you're like, oh, is she or is she, that basically, amazingly, that happened that year. Like everything
Yeah.
happened. You know, um, the observation or of DNA happened that year, Watson and Crick. Theoretically, I wanted there to keep us wondering as long as possible. So I laid in as much as I could. Um, a lot of things had to be taken out because I had all my best lines had to go because they were too modern, too
Mm,
snarky. She wouldn't talk like that from the 50s. So
I loved it. I love
yeah.
those little things. And I love that it ties in. That's like, cause like, yeah, that would make sense. I love that.
Who was your favorite supporting character?
Oh, that's a good question because like I had favorites at the psych ward, but then like out and about, honestly, I kind of really loved Mary.
Ah,
I kind of
yeah,
really loved her, and that whole storyline was so crazy.
yeah, she's irascible. I
Yeah.
named her after my kids. I had this wonderful babysitter, teenager, but when they were young, and her name was Mary Drosh, or is Mary Drosh. She's married now, so she goes by a different one. But
I love that.
she
Wait,
was super
I love when a
smart.
people like put little things like person from their personal lives in their books. I love
My
that.
God. Did you pile a bunch of things in? I did.
I
There
did.
are so many Easter eggs in this just because I felt like it.
Yeah, no, I like I mean in my book, one of the side characters, her name is Rowan, and she's entirely based on one of my best friends. Like, there, besides the name, there is not a difference to them. Grew up in the same place, does the same, like, literally the exact same person. And I did that because when I turned it into a movie, not if, when it becomes a movie, I want her to play the character because I want to drag her to England with me. And so I put her as the character just that.
How fun. That is
But then there's also
great.
like anytime if I ever needed a music reference, like I would just put in whatever music because I listen to music when I write, like I have to. And so
Hmm.
whatever song or artist I was listening to then was what made it in. So you can see my like music like hyperfixations throughout the book because there'll be a chunk where like Arctic Monkeys is mentioned here, and then a
Got
chunk
Arctic
like
Monkeys.
this one artist is mentioned a bunch. And so you can tell when I'm listening to a certain artist a lot.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Wow. There's this kind of obscure song by the group James,
Mm.
which is back in the 90s, I think. And it's called Lullaby. And it's so exactly on track with what is going on with my main character. So I would just,
I'll have to
when I
listen.
needed to get back into it, I would always, that's how I would enter by playing it. I have played it so many hundreds of times. Insane.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I'm going to use it on an Instagram post, but it is like their one song that is not licensed, so you cannot play
Oh,
it.
there's a song by The Clash called London Calling, and that was
Ah, oh, I
my
love that.
like drop in song whenever, because like in my mind I see, because I write really cinematically because I see it like playing out. And
Hmm.
so whenever I like that song is like the opening title song for me, where like you see like New York, because that's where the book starts. And so you see New York and then you hear London Calling playing. So anytime I would ever like take a break from writing and then get back into it, that was the song because that was like the opening title that would get me back into the story.
It's funny how your brain just needs that one song to kind of
Mhm.
flip back in.
But anytime
Yeah.
I hear the song like out and about now, like not playing it for the book, I'm like, oh my God, I have to write. I have to write. It like
That
awakens
was
something.
that song is like the epitome of my like freshman year in college and just probably drinking too much and partying
It's
too
a
much. It
great song. It's fun.
wired into me.
I
I
love
also I play soccer with a group of women. Um, and it's people from like 25 to 81
it. Mm.
play in this. It's all women, and I played with them for 20 years. But the original group, when we were taught how to play, because our kids were in AYSO, and one of the coaches said, "Hey, do you want me to teach you guys how to play?" So we started, and we were just it seemed insane at the time because no, there weren't any women that I knew of who of my age that even knew how to play soccer. And so I it always struck me that we were kind of a little bit crazy, but in a good way, you know?
Yeah.
And so I named the when early on when Nurse Wallace is reading out the list of where everybody's going, who's taking who to what wards. I listed the original women that I played soccer with in as
Wait, I
one of
love that.
the
I love that. That's fun. Now I'm like, I gotta go back real quick and just like
oh
take it.
yeah, the Swedish alcoholic is or Norwegian alcoholic Maren, who steals the dinner rolls, is one of my other soccer friends.
That's so
She's the not anything like that. But
Wait,
it
she
was
doesn't
fun.
steal dinner rolls? What?
She, well, not that I know of. We'll
Who
find out.
knows?
But
Maybe she does. Yes, I gotta
something I
step
picked
my
up
game and
on.
like put more people I know in my book.
Oh my God, you have total control.
I know.
I thought I'll put all this in
Yeah.
and they'll probably make me take it out. And no one ever made me take even a an M dash out. I
Oh
was
wow.
just M dash crazy and they all stayed.
Wow.
Miracle.
I definitely like I will base characters on people. So like there's the people who have a character based on them, they know. And I'm like, by the way, this is you. And they're
They,
like, yeah. And so they know, but no one is like, I don't think I've ever had anyone's like name make it in, which I have to.
well, yeah.
Next book,
Uh,
what's gonna happen?
you got to jam them all in because it's really satisfying.
And then you don't
I
tell the
learned
person
it from my
until they read
friend
the
who's
book.
a what?
I said, and then you don't tell the person, and then they read the book, and they're like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah. Our mine are all named, but the characters are not anything like them.
Mm.
Uh, but
So
um,
we're opposites then, basically.
what?
So we're opposites, basically, where it's the name, the
Yes.
character, and mine's the character, the
Yes.
name.
I made up all the characters, but the names are all borrowed from people. My friend who's a screenwriter, she wrote Ever After, the Cinderella
Yes.
movie. And she called me up one day and said, "Do you mind if I name two of the characters after your daughters?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." She goes, the evil step sisters. So I'm like, "Yeah, fine." And my kids were like, I decided for them. I think they were young. They were like 7 or 8 or something. And so they're named, the characters in it are my kids' names,
That's
Marguerite
so
and
funny. I love that.
that's where
Wow.
I got the idea. Stick as many names in as you can. Who knows if
Now
I'll
I'm
write
getting the
another book?
idea from you because I'm going to start doing that now.
Yes, do it. It was
Passing it on.
fun.
You depict a like mid-century psychiatric hospital in vivid, often very disturbing detail because it does dive into the problems of a psychiatric hospital. And
Hmm.
what was the research that you like what was the research like that you did to kind of like capture that, I guess, like atmosphere?
All different kinds. I read uh, books written by actual patients about their time, or even articles. I did a lot of research into what the terms were and what they thought of at that time, schizophrenia, and how, what are the technical terms, and what were the normal, um, not protocol, that's bad, normal treatments that they would do. Um, and even the people that sneak into abandoned, maybe you don't, but
I,
there are whole realms of the internet with people who sneak into these same um, hospitals that were built on what's called the Kirkbride plan. That was kind of, they look like castles, and they kind of
mm,
go out in these. And they built, I don't know, 100, at least 100 of them in the United States and England also, from like the late 19th century through like 1920. And so by the 50s, they were still using these hospitals, but they were old, and the ideals uh, that went behind the design of it, and their hopes for, the why they kind of turn is to keep fresh air going in, because they felt that was key to sanity
mm,
and the patient's welfare. And so they had high hopes, but by the 50s, people had spent decades kind of warehousing difficult women, difficult men, um, not just people who needed to be in a hospital setting, but any inconvenient aunt you have. Or so they had become so overcrowded in the 50s. And 55, I think, was the peak population. I think there were like 600,000 people who were
oh wow.
in hospitals. A huge amount of them never got out. Once you were in, the percentage of people that stayed was quite high.
That's
Um, yeah, it's weird.
wow.
So I did research on that. The DSM for terms for and what was considered, you know, um, a mental illness, and what we consider laughable at this point, homosexuality, alcoholism, all everybody was treated in the same place. And they did a lot of the Kirkbride hospitals would work from the center outward. So as you got farther out in the wings, those were the more serious patients, just
Mm.
like it is at Hanover.
I
Um,
loved the alphabet
also,
system that was used. That was the alphabet system that was used.
yes,
I really liked that. Is that accurate to how they would?
it's varied a lot, which was good news for me because
Mm,
it gave
yeah.
me some leeway how they did it. But there were some hospitals that used, lettering, and mine is actually based on one of those specific hospitals. It's hard to find everything,
Yeah.
there was, um, but the Dr. Sherman and his treatment was an actual treatment. I think there were at least three doctors, and he was highly ranked. He was in charge of, I think, the American Psychiatric Association the
Wow.
first year that they put out the DSM. So he was this. That's who Sherman's based on. This one doctor who felt that he could rebuild people by breaking them down with precisely. I actually used the settings because they're listed in articles that he had written and the other two doctors to for how many volts and how long and how much and the descriptions of what they were hoping for in the patient so that they knew that they were completely regressed is just frightening. I some of it was word for word because I'm like, I can't make up worse than this.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the kind of CIA backing was also true.
That was a
They,
crazy, like
yeah.
I wasn't expecting that like little storyline, and that was crazy to me.
I wasn't either. I found it during research. I'm like, oh my God, can't make this stuff up.
Literally, you can't. It's so insane.
Yeah, they wanted the information that he could get in how a human being reacts to all this so that they could basically write the book on interrogating um, the captives and trying to get information from them. How do you bring them down to this level where they trust you and they, will do what tell you, of course, they
Yeah.
tell you what will get them out of pain and torture. But at the time that they felt that this was good, useful stuff. And it came under, oh God, what is it called? It's a government, uh, secret set of experiments that went on at the time. So it all
Wow.
kind of coalesced at the same. It was the beginning of it. I think it went through like the late 60s.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. That's crazy.
drawing a blank on the name of it. Project Ultra. Oh, MK Ultra. That's what it was.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah.
Wow. That must have been some intense research.
Well, it was, I was so surprised. I mean, I was just like, what else are they hiding from us?
Yeah.
Holy crap, this stuff is all available. You look for it if you dig for it. Um, and just, what was it like living in the 50s? Some of it, like her sensations of the clothing, I knew that because I remember wearing that kind of very tight up top and these big scratchy under petticoats
Mm,
still very young. And so it was like I had this kind of tactile memory of it, which helped a
yeah.
lot. And all of the weird, elaborate undergarments was kind of fun too. Like, how did that
I, what's so funny is because I was born in '08, never was like an '80s kid or anything. But
work?
because of my job, I was an '80s kid for 8 years. And they had like they went and they got accurate clothing from the '80s. So
God.
whenever I'm ever talking to someone who is like an '80s, '90s kid and they complain about it, I'm like, oh my God, I know. And I'm right there with them. And I'm talking about those wool bed sheets and I'm talking about the tight shirts and everything. And
Oh
like, they're
yeah.
complaining, but there's an age gap. But it's so funny because I understand
Yeah.
and being an '80s kid so well because I lived it for 8 years. Mid
That's so
90s is when it got better. It gets better. But it was like late 80s, early 90s when you're little, like the pajamas.
Were they footsies or
The
the
ones that I had
were
was
they
like,
fire retardant?
I don't know, but it was like, it was this itchy cotton, and then the top of it had like a little lace thing that was so itchy. And then my bed was a wool, so it was the sheet was great. The sheet was a soft cotton, but then the
Yeah.
top of the bed, like the actual like blanket part, was this thick wool blanket that was so itchy. And so
Wow.
I would use the sheet to block the blanket. So it basically was like a pillowcase over it. Just use the sheet to hide from the thick blanket. But I
You
talk like
have
I
lived
grew up in
through
the
it. Those were
80s.
probably blankets from the 50s.
It was honestly probably
Like
like
Pendleton blankets.
that was ooh. And then I got new blankets. I got new blankets in like I want to say like 91, 92, and that
Yeah.
was great. That's when I was
Ah,
happy. That was
sweet.
really nice. But I like you I talk like I'm from the 80s, 90s.
Like a time traveler.
Like a time traveler. It's so funny to me. Like I
My
walk
dad was a star
up.
of this Western in the 70s. It was called Lancer. And and half of the stuff they wore was, stuff he would bring in and then they let him keep. So he had just these incredibly great um like suede jackets, and they didn't have like fringe or anything, but it was it was the 70s, so they kind of made do with various anachronisms, I guess, but it was fun.
That's fun. Westerns look like such a fun, just like
It was the heyday then, I
I just
guess.
love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's the Western that they did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the movie, the
Mm.
the actual TV show where it takes place, the set is the TV show where my dad was the father of these two sons, called Lancer.
Oh, I've never seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because
Uh,
it came out when I think I was too little to watch it. And so I haven't seen it, but I really want to. Like once I feel like I'm at a point where I could. So I do want to watch it. And
right. That's Paul
it's
Manson.
like it's the film business. And so like I love watching movies that have to do with the film business.
Hmm.
Because it's just like I'm like, how did you do this? Like what did you highlight here?
Yeah. It's he they at one point one of the characters it? Oh, it's Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and he's reading the TV guide, which was a thing. Like you would get this in the mail and you would read the articles. And he's reading it, and it's the cover, it's the week of the Manson murders.
Oh
And
wow.
my dad was on the cover of it, and that's kind of how it all like I think that's where he got the idea of using Lancer. I'm not really sure.
Crazy.
Um,
Wow. This is a great segue
oh,
because I'm jumping a bit from talking about the book to talking about you because you have been a writer and editor throughout your life, not just in writing books. And I was wondering, as this is your debut novel, how did your prior experience as being a writer slash editor kind of prepare you for writing this?
well, I was an editor in the fashion sense. So my editing at L was I was fashion editor. I was associate fashion editor, so I did the cheaper clothes, which are still fairly expensive. So it was very visual, and I was an architecture major, so also very into structure and and I see everything in my head like a movie it plays out, which really helps. So I would say that trying to write to get staffed on a show as a middle-aged woman, they said, oh, you have to write an original pilot and sell it. That's the only way that you'll end up on a show. So I think I wrote like five pilots, and I think that had the most impact on, I think my writing style was very is sparse, I would say. And I was really, because everything has to keep moving, uh, really aware of that because a lot of the time she's alone or she's kind of not, she's not free to move. So
Yeah.
having agency and making choices, even if they are, if she keeps on running into a brick wall, was really important. And that was constantly this voice in my head, keep, no matter how treated she is, there's has to constantly be an element of her fighting back or trying to fight back against it. And so that I think had the most influence on me. And yeah, the agency, I would say, constantly worrying about
I
that.
love that. I mean, I think like because how you said because you are like because whenever you were preparing to write this book and you're writing the pilots and that made your writing almost like sparse. I
Mhm.
think it's so interesting how people's backgrounds affect how they write a book. Because like I I never like scripts scare me writing wise because I'm such a descriptions person.
Mhm.
The reason I'm such a descriptions person, I think, is because I grew up reading fantasy.
Ah, yeah, world
And
building.
fantasy is a very description heavy because you have to share this world that no one's ever been to before. And
Right.
so I think that's why I'm such a descriptions person, even with like writing my rom-com, which is on this world set in England. Everyone knows what everything is, but I'm still like, I have to explain this basic function of this and everything. And so I think it's so fascinating how, like, because you came from writing scripts. And so for the book, you might not be as description heavy and more of a dialogue type writer, which I
Right.
think is so fun to see it translate over.
That is really an interesting observation. That is cool.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
I think part when you're designing buildings, there is this kind of flow of and where you are aware of the person walking through a given space and that it kind of contracts and expands. So it's that you are controlling their movement or their perception as they're moving through it by bringing it in and then having a focal point and then opening up. And I was very aware that I was somehow doing that in writing this, especially when she's in the unit because it's a kind of smothering, claustrophobic, dark period that is almost in my mind is necessary, like going through a small area in a building and then to kind of boost that feeling when she finally gets out or when you enter, a larger space. It's like you're able to manipulate the whether they want it or not. Some people are like, she spends a lot of time, stuck in the hospital, but for me, it was like it needed to have its own,
Yeah.
like you had to be on this journey to a certain extent, whether you like it or not.
I mean, we were talking about earlier, we were talking about like different stages in your life and being multiple people. And I think that's so true because there's like hospital her, there's being out and about her. There's like a bunch of different, not to like spoil anything, but there's a
Right.
bunch of different versions of her that you see throughout. And I think the hospital part is so important because it's like you're basically building who she is as a person because she didn't have any memories.
Hmm.
And
That's
so she's learning who she is. And so you're watching this character be built. It's very fascinating to read.
that is true. You know, I thought it was so interesting the idea of exploring what is a person without their memories, because your especially bad memories or bad experiences, have their impact on you
Yeah.
and form you. And if you suddenly have no memory of those, who are you?
Who are you? Yeah.
Untethered to your previous self. Yeah.
Yeah. I love reading any book really that has some sort of like forgotten memories or anything. Because I just think it's so interesting to try to watch a person find who they are again.
Me
And
too.
I think it's such an interesting and beautiful thing to write slash read.
Yeah, it is a sweet spot for me, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Maybe one day I'll write it.
Oh, it's so much fun. Memory issues are so much fun.
I may have to. I have two more questions for you. And one is pretty easy. And the other one, it's easy, but it's one of my favorite questions. Second to last is what do you hope people take away from this book?
I hope, let me think about that. Um, question everything. That's what I hope,
I,
especially in this day and age.
yeah,
Uh, the more older I get, the more I just don't believe anything is necessarily just because we have thought it should be that way, or it seems like that's the truth. Is it really the truth? Is it, should we all be? Because I mean, just if you live long enough, just the nutrition advice you get from
yeah,
the 80s were just a lot of pasta and obviously wool blankets. uh,
yeah.
there's just a lot of like that was suddenly like the thing that was going to save us was eating a lot of carbs and not and lowering
Not
your
a
fat.
hamburger helper.
Oh my God, it's just nuts. And the way it's still kind of playing out, it's like I don't believe any experts anymore, which does make me sound like a crazy person. But I
Hey,
think always be
everything.
questioning the status quo and
Yeah,
why the status quo and who has made it. Who are the powers that be that have determined the status quo
I agree
and
with that.
narrative and
Very
how
much.
you think of yourself. Um, just because the adults in the room say you're being difficult or you're being odd or you're being crazy, are you? It's just you're not agreeing with them. So
You're not like conforming to their expectations. So
yeah,
then you're,
in either time, whether it's 2035 or now, the
yeah,
need to conform and the need to have some certain truth, like even if it's wrong, people want something to cling to, is always something to be on the watch for.
yeah. Okay. I love that. That was, I agree wholeheartedly on that.
Great. Memory issues, great thing. Also question everything.
Yep. Okay, great.
Mhm.
That's our lesson today. Memory issues and questioning everything. I'm sensing a pattern.
Especially if you have memory issues. And I have horrible ones. Was just born with a bad memory,
Mm,
and which is kind of comforting in that I've had it my entire life. It's not like something recent, but the the some major things that I should have not have a problem recalling, I do.
mm,
And it's at times left me having to depend on other people to tell me what happened. And that is a very vulnerable feeling because
yeah.
I have found out that they were lying at certain points. Not like on the level of what Dorothy goes through, but the
The
whole,
element is like still there. Yeah.
yeah, the whole is that really what happened? And they're like, you don't remember? Or what? It's so easy to
Yeah.
gaslight me.
Yeah. I my mother is the same where like she just like memory is like not there. So like and she has a lot to remember. She has a very full plate. So like I can't blame her. But like it's the same thing where like she'll have to be like did like what was this, and then I'll recall like a memory, and she's like, you remember that?
Yes, I feel for
Yeah.
her. Oh
Yeah.
my God. My poor kids. They're like, don't you remember this? And then it becomes a, don't you value our time when we were little enough to remember it?
I have to remember. Yeah.
It's not personal. I've been doing it my whole life. So
Yeah.
memory issues are fascinating for me. Yeah.
I I'm gonna have to write it one day.
Or your mom should.
Or my mom should. She would be very good at that. Be very good at that. And then well, arguably one of my favorite questions, and it's biased because it's how I get book recommendations. What
Oh.
are you currently reading right now?
Oh. I'll tell you what I just finished that I love. It's called The Change by Kirsten Miller. It's got witchcraft and and a lot of patriarchy stuff. So
You
it's
have I'm sold.
speculative.
I'm
Yeah.
sold.
But if in a nutshell, it's three women who are um going through perimenopause or menopause, and menopause brings out like superpowers. So cool.
Sounds like such a good book.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to read
2022, I
this.
think it came out. So I highly recommend it. And I listened to it on audio tape. I mean, from the library, even though I have a book here. And it's excellent. The audiobook is excellent. So that
That's
is
great to
her.
know. I love I asked this question purely because I already have such a big TBR, but I'm like, what do you read right now? And then after they say it, I'm like, okay, gonna order this book.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
exactly what happened.
eventually going to be killed by this pile that's next to my bed. Oh. And my
I
sister's
have
such a
high
fast reader, and she just like, oh, did you get that? I'm like, no, I haven't finished. I haven't finished. I'm so
It's not
slow.
my fault. I can buy books faster than I can read them.
Yeah.
It's my
Oh
fault.
my God. But there's some whole word I heard this week for that act, that there is value in buying books that you are maybe going to ever read or not, that it's a thing. So I
What?
feel much better now that they've given it a word.
This is like it's a known thing. It's not just us.
Yes, not just us.
Not just us.
Yeah.
Not
The
crazy.
Other Valley was another one that was good. It is Scott Alexander Howard, or Alexander Scott Howard. Howard is the last name. And it's another speculative, but not a, it's kind of upmarket. It's
Mm.
and it has an element of time travel, but it's more geographical time
Oh,
travel, which
okay.
is fascinating. And he was a debut author in 2024. Um, so I highly recommend that one too.
Okay, I wrote it down. This I
What have
can't
you
wait to,
read that you
I
liked?
can't wait to order both. What have I read? Hmm. I'm on a big fantasy kick right now. And so I just read I am very much like I like high fantasy. So it's like because do you know the different types of fantasies?
I know that high is doesn't take place on our Earth, right?
Yes. So it because I'm a big world building person. And so that's one of the reasons I love high fantasy is because it's in a completely different world and you can literally do anything with it.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of the fantasy that I read. And so there's a book called Furyborn. I think that's the second one. That I am reading right now. I'm reading the series. It's so good.
Who's
It's
the author?
Here, I can look it up and tell you. Reborn. Um, by Claire Legrand. So good.
I will look into that
So good. Highly
after I
recommend.
finish the 20 that are on my list.
I have so much in my TBR. I am right there with you. I get it.
Oh my God, it's a disease, a
No,
name disease.
it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Ah,
Okay. Sure, it makes traveling really difficult when you have to bring a ton of books. And your room is always kind of a mess because you don't have anywhere to put the books. But besides that, it's a blessing.
yeah. Besides that,
Besides
I
that.
like a grounded fantasy where it's like one thing, but it takes
Mhm.
place in our world, not necessarily our time. Right now, I'm just like not into our time at all.
I get that.
I mean,
I
just
can't blame you.
storytelling wise, it's just so much tech that kind of eliminates the juicy stuff. So I think that I'm almost certain that the book I'm writing is going to be in the 90s because back in the old times when it was a little
90s
easier.
was fun though. It had such good music.
Yeah, it did. I didn't appreciate it enough. I was like having lots of kids and sleep deprived. So it's like I have this kind of hole in just all mass media, like music, television, movies, where I don't know what I was just not didn't
I
have time for it.
I'm trying to think. Like I'm such a like Nirvana Smashing Pumpkins person. And
Mhm.
so like that was the time, man.
Right, really.
I love it so much.
Oh, the plaid, first wave of plaid.
Flannels. They had flannels.
Yeah,
Lots of flannels.
I was just way I got married and I had kids or started having them young. So it's like I felt so old then, and I wasn't.
No, that was the
Anyway,
if I had a time machine, I'd go back to the 90s and I would
that's
be
what
there for a bit
and
because that sounds fun.
you could get away with murder. But like in the 50s, that was what was so fun was that you could not have this my plot proceed the
Yeah,
way it did because there would just be too many sources of information and there
they
just was.
didn't have DNA then.
Yeah, they barely did. And yeah, it was good times.
Good times. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was great. A huge pleasure. And have a good rest of the day. I hope it's rainy.
Thank you. I hope it is rainy for you too. I know same area, kind of. I hope you get a great marine layer.
Thank you.
Of course.
Bye.